Todd hit us up. Todd said, if you think the calendar in college football is broken, how healthy do you think the sport is overall? I don't think it's healthy at all, Todd. But let me start by saying this. I love college football, man. There is no second sport for me. I love college football. Have since the day I was born, will until the day I die. I know sometimes lately it's sounded like I'm focusing on the negative aspects and I sound negative towards the sport. No. It's not that at all. And I apologize if it does come off that way. It's just that I love the sport. I hate some of the hands that are on the sport right now, if that makes any sense to you. You can have love for something and hate the way it's being handled. And so that's how I think a lot of you feel about college football. So, no, I don't think the sport's healthy right now. But there are mixed opinions on this. There's some folks who think the sport's never been in a better place. And they've got their own criteria. They've got their own tools for measurement they use. I'll ask you, what do you go to? Todd, anyone else, what do you go to if you want to answer the question, is your sport healthy? So I think you got some common sense stuff, and then you got some things right in your face. Common sense, okay? Common sense has me look at college football right now and look at how big a disaster the calendar is, how crazy NIL and the portal have overlapped to create something that's unsustainable totally, and how coaches are burning out, staffers are burning out, conferences have crumbled just in the past couple of years because of a lot of greed that has no business in the room. It never had to happen. Common sense has me look at that and say, this isn't healthy. This isn't what college football should be. But then someone else may walk in and say, hey, but ratings are good. TV ratings are good. And I don't think that that is anywhere close to the top of the list of metrics that should be used to gauge the health of anything, especially an entire sport. First off, thing about TV ratings is there are 37 different variables in play that really have nothing to do with college football that go into determining year-over-year ratings. And there are all kinds of other things that are very, very intricately woven into that process and that language that most people who talk TV ratings don't even know how to speak. But let's just say that ratings are good, because they are. They are right when they say TV ratings are really good and viewer traffic is up for college football right now. Using current TV ratings to suggest that college football is healthy is the same thing as coming to me and saying, well, that person can't have a terminal illness. They look great. They look phenomenal. Well, you could have two things true at the same time. Now, I'm not saying that anything terminal, no terminal blow, no poison has been permanently injected into college football. But if I'm going to suggest that the sport's not in a healthy place right now, and all you have to come back at me with is, well, TV ratings are up, dude, those things are so detached from each other. There is no reputable person in my industry, at the behind the curtain, up the ladder several rungs executive level, who will say, yeah, the first thing we go to gauge the health of a product is ratings. Or let me put it to you like this. Let's just say that college football's leaders, and trust me, I use that term very loosely, let's just say college football's leaders met in a room 2 months ago in October and made 15 of the most catastrophic decisions they could ever make about the sport. Do you think the SEC championship game would have done any less of a number on TV? Of course it wouldn't have. Now, the sport would have been dealt a death blow, unbeknownst to you and me. The ratings would have been fine. Because ratings are well downstream of decision making. You make a bad decision today, you may not reap the side effects for 5 years, but it will happen, and you will reap negative side effects from some of the bad decision making that's happened already in our sport, and if it continues to happen, it'll be pretty prolonged. That's why I think self-governance is the answer. At the conference level, I think self-governance is the answer. Hey, you don't like the way the transfer portal's working right now? Listen, I'm a believer that from this point moving forward, this is the only answer. You can go back in time and say, I wish we could have done this or that different. From this point moving forward, self-governance is going to be the answer. Self-governance, when I say that, I mean this, is conferences. Not even maybe necessarily just at the university level, but conferences who are able to sign their own media rights deal, Big Ten, SEC, chief among them, going to their players and entering into whatever kind of agreement it has to be. If it's employment, we'll just call it employment, and saying, this ain't going to fly anymore. And we got billions of dollars over here in media rights money. You're going to get your cut of it, but you're also going to sign a contract. And when you commit to Auburn, you're locked into Auburn for a minimum baseline number of years. There is not going to be free agency every year. We're going to reconstruct this calendar because we're in charge of it now. We're also not going to treat the academic calendar as something we can kind of hide behind. The academic calendar. Forget the academic calendar. It's not been about that for a long time anyway. This is all going to happen. I don't know if it's 2 years away or 20 years away. That's where we're headed. I don't necessarily love that, but I can't go back in time 15 or 20 years and change the modus operandi that a lot of folks back then had because they never thought they would need to budge an inch on this stuff. Well, now you've been pushed off of your perch and you don't have the ability to go back in time. So self-governance is going to be the answer. And so I don't think that college football has been dealt any kind of death blow. There's a lot to love about the sport. I think in time, we may look back, let's say 5 years from now, and I think you may see that college football in 2022-23 was at its relative lowest point when it comes to a lot of chaos and lack of guardrails and controls. I think we'll get them in the very near future. Doesn't mean that the bowl season will ever be as pristine as it once was, and you're going to have to come to grips with employment status maybe for players. But here's what I asked someone last night who DM'd me and said, Josh, I'm kind of being turned off by the sport. I get those DMs in December a lot. I get those DMs in transfer portal season. In other words, times when we're not playing football. Because I ask that person the same thing I always ask anyone who tells me they're thinking about leaving the sport. Do Saturdays in the fall feel any different for you? I go to a game every Saturday. I'm telling you, 3rd and 2 with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter when it's a tie game feels no different to me than it always has. It's just how much of your attention do you choose to give the off-the-field stuff that frankly doesn't impact you or much of your enjoyment of the games in the fall if you don't let it. That's my advice. If you don't like what's going on, I may have to give you some advice that runs counter to our strategy here on the channel. It may be time to just cut the show off for a little while. When I talk about things of this nature, don't click on the videos. If that doesn't interest you, or as Meemaw would say, get your dauber down a little bit, don't do it forever. You know, we want to keep the lights on here, but self-governance is largely what's going to solve that issue, and it's going to take some forward thinkers to solve that issue in short supply in college athletics, but I think we'll get the right minds in the room in due time.